How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So we've got a couple of different wee things going on today. First one that we weren't actually going to film, that was just because it was a customer wanting a second opinion. So long story short is a little Audi A3 cut out on this customer. So they got it towed to the Audi dealer, and they have advised that it will need a new fuel system. So they have quoted a figure of £5,000, which is a lot of money, but high pressure fuel systems, the parts are quite dear. So he asked for a second opinion. So what we've done is we've took out the suction control valve, or the fuel pressure metering valve on the high pressure pump, and it is pretty bad in there, so I'll just show you what that looks like now. So if you look here, so I did take the filter out, but I thought it'd just be easier to get access to see what's actually in the pump. So if you look in there, you can see all the metal swath that's in there. That's probably one of the worst that I've seen on a high pressure diesel. It's just metal filings that have came from that pump. So the dealer is right on this one. Not that I'm saying the dealer would lie, but there is a few dealers out there that would happily do that and charge a customer a lot of money. So obviously we could say we'll just stick a fuel pump on it, but that's not going to be the right sort of course of action on this one. Obviously all the metal sort of swath is around the engine on this one, no doubt blocking the injectors as well. So this is going to be an expensive one regardless of what way he goes about it. How many miles has this got on it? On this one is 90,000 mile. So you guys let me know in the comments, what would you do with this one? I think I know what I would do, but it's going to cost a lot of money regardless, whether we do it or the dealer does it. Might not be so dear as £5,000, but it's just really if all the metal filings are all around the high pressure system, and obviously the low pressure side, it's really whether you take that risk fitting the new parts. You know, you really need to clean the full system out. So yeah, we'll move on to the next one anyway. I'm not too sure what the next one is, but we'll catch you there. So we've time warped to the next job, which is an Audi A6, I believe. Yes, it's an Audi A6, it's not an Audi A7. So this is a new trade customer. Basically this car came in with a brake pad warning light present on the dash. Now the brake pads, discs are absolutely fine, nothing wrong with them. They've tried the obvious bypass test, that's not worked. So they suspect a break in the wiring harness. So what we're going to do is just a simple coding adjustment, just to get this out the door, more or less. Obviously the customer knows that this is getting done, but it is just a brake pad wear sensor. You can tell when your brake pads are getting low. So it's a light that's present on the dash, and it's very annoying because it beeps at you constantly. So you can see there, brake pad warning light, and we've also got the little key light, which is because the key is out of the vehicle at the minute. So that is what we're going to get rid of for this customer today. So the tool that we're going to be using for this today is no other than the Topdon X-Link. So we're going to go into Audi, click OK. We'll just show you how fast this can be done. We'll just let it find the vehicle, what type of vehicle it actually is. So it's in more or less the topology view, so we'll just click on high speed scan. We don't really need to do a high speed scan, but we'll just do it just for the sake of the video. You can see it's going through all the modules really quickly. which means we'll get this job done quicker. So we'll go on to body control module, or 09, electronic central electric. And you can see we've got a data bus error value received. If we go to driver assist systems, you can see you've got a temporary view limitation, that's passive, and we've got a window regulator, no basic setting. So we're going to head into electronic central electric, which is 09. We'll click OK, go into long code, and we will click on main control unit, and you can see it gives us the current code, which is just a string of numbers there, and it will ask you, are you sure you want to do the long coding? So we'll click yes, and you can see it gives us that sort of string of numbers again, and we've got various items here which you can install or put not active, or uninstall I should say. So we'll just keep going down. You can see there's quite a list that you can do, so we'll just try and focus the camera a bit better on that. So we'll keep going down until we find brake pad wear. No doubt it'll be right down at the bottom, so here we are. So you can see brake pad wear sensor installed. So we'll switch the vehicle off. The vehicle is running just to let it charge up a bit. Switch the ignition on. You can see the ignition is on. We'll go into brake pad wear sensor, and we'll just click not installed, and you can see we've got two long codes there. So we've got a current value and we've got an input value. Now let me pause this now and we'll figure out what's changed on these digits. So we ended up getting interrupted there. It's always a nightmare when you're trying to film something and somebody comes over and wants to chit chat to you. So it's probably, I don't know, maybe about 5 minutes later. We've just decided to move the car just so we can get a bit of peace just to film the last bit of this. So the last digits that we were showing you just before that video cut out, I'll show you here. So if we look at FAF8 at the very end there, you can see the digits that have changed is 17A. So that F, those last digits are 817A. So that's what's changed on that sort of string of numbers there, numbers and letters. So if we go down, if we keep going till we find brake pad wear, it is not installed at the minute. The ignition I've got off, so I better turn the ignition off before I do this. So what we'll do is we'll just click save. So you can see coding is success right there. Click OK, and it gives you the coding that you've just changed there. So we'll go back, go into read DTC. There's nothing there at the minute. Obviously you can still see, I'm just trying to get used to this zoom on this camera, it can be a nightmare sometimes. You can still see that we've got the brake pad wear warning light present, but if we switch the ignition off, we'll let this settle for a little bit, come back to it, and that light will be off. So we'll just start with turning the ignition on. You can see it's complaining about the bonnet being open, but that's what you need to do on these to, well, that's what it says on this tool anyway. Don't know if it's the same as the rest of the tools, but you need to open the bonnet. So we'll just start it up. And we should be clear of any brake pad wear sensor issue coming on the dash, which we are. So that is a nice simple fix. That's the sort of stuff that we like. Obviously we can't get that all the time, but I'll just make sure this bonnet's shut now. And yeah, so if you have got the Topdon X link, it can get rid of the brake pad wear warning. If you have got an issue, obviously with the brake pad sensors and your brake pads are low, it's obviously advisable to change them. But in this case, it is a wiring issue, and this has kind of been the last resort. The customers agreed to it. All they wanted was the warning light off the dash, so that's what we've done. So that is all the lights out. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we've moved on to the next day, and as you can see, the weather's took a turn for the worst. So what we've got is we've got a little Vauxhall Corsa, which is just outside there. Service vehicle sound light is on, so we've just plugged in the Topdon Phoenix Plus just because it's Bluetooth, and we're going to do a system scan on it and see what the problem is. So electronic parking brake control module, that's nothing to do with what we're here for. Radiator coolant temperature, RCT, sensor circuit low voltage. So that is our main issue. Yep, so we're going to read data stream and see if there should be a data PID for this here. So we'll go into engine cooling. We will go down, so click on desired engine coolant temperature. We'll click on the actual engine coolant temperature as well. And that is the one we're looking for there, which is radiator coolant temperature sensor. So we'll just click on those three and we'll see what we've got. So you can see the desired engine coolant temperature is 90 degrees. That's just a value, but the car's not been running this morning, so the actual temperature is 8 degrees at the minute. And you can see the correlation between the two. So the radiator coolant temperature is showing 140 degrees, which is way too high. So the best way to deal with this is just get the decade box on it, put a resistance value in there and see if that changes on the live data. If it does change, then we can rule out the wiring, and obviously the actual sensor itself is the part that's faulty. So we're going to locate a sensor, get the decade box on it, and that'll be us. We should be done fairly quickly. So if you look down there, you can see the green wire. That's just a wee plug that goes onto the actual sensor itself. So we'll get the decade box set up and see what the values change to on the live data. So what we've done is we've connected up the decade box into the plug. You can see down there at the bottom, this is just an extra bit of diagnosis just to confirm the wiring's okay and the actual ECU is able to see the data coming back. So what we'll do is we'll try and get that down to a respectable maybe 8 degrees. So we'll flip on 2K, add another 3, and you can see we're down to 7 degrees Celsius. So that's just by putting it round about 5K. So if we were to clear that fault code, the fault wouldn't come back. But we're going to, in this case, need to replace a radiator temperature sensor. You can see there, that's our old one out. And we've got the new one plugged in, and you can see both of them are bang on. So the radiator coolant temperature is at 8 degrees, and the engine coolant temperature sensor is at 8 degrees as well. So that's our new sensor in place. So we've let it run for a bit, let the coolant temperature and that go up, and you can see the radiator temperature is reading where it should be within spec, and we've got no warning lights present on the dash, so that's a fix for this one. Let's move on to the next. So we're at our next job now, guys. We've just arrived at a little Corsa D which has been sort of sitting idle for about a month or two until the customer Sourced a second-hand ECU. Now everyone knows about these 1.3s and the problems they've got with water ingress getting through the sort of scuttle panel area and getting into the ECU. The one that we've got on the bench right now has got a capacitor voltage fault, and we know that to be obviously the engine ECU is faulty, more or less. So the customers managed to source one. We've just opened both of them there, and they're really clean. The reason we have opened them is because the pin code extracting tool that we've got somehow won't give us the right pin code. We've tried multiple times, and we've also tried with a little auto fix as well that can also pull the pin codes. So we've just resorted to the old sort of way of doing it, and that's taking the casings off, and if anything that will give us a good look at the donor ECU, and it is really clean, so let me show you that now. So this is the old ECU, or the original I will say, and you can see common water, corrosion on the board, and obviously this sealant isn't original, so it's in its lifetime someone's been into this before, which isn't uncommon. This one however is absolutely spotless. I would flip it around, but I'm currently got it attached now to the computer, so it's absolutely spotless. There's not even a mark on this, so we'll get this properly cleaned up, resealed before fitting back to the car. Now just so I can show you here, we're just using CG100 on this just for quickness. You can see that 4-digit letter there, so our pin code will be 3071. Now I did make an older video maybe about 2 years back about this, so I'm not going to go on too much on how to do this or whatever. So we're just going to get the pin code off of this one, the EEPROM data off of this one, the EEPROM data off of this one, and get it transferred over. That means we've got the 2 pin codes if and when we need it. So I've just loosely put the engine ECU sitting in there just to make sure it starts up. And it's running fine now. Before it would start up and then cut out straight away, but that seems to be good. So now that we've got the pin code of that, we'll just plug a scan tool in and make sure there isn't any configuration needing done. So we've had it running for a little while now. Everything's all built back up. The ECU's been sealed with fresh sealant, and all the scuttle panel and all that's back on. So we've got one fault code here, which is for the cooling fan circuit 2. That is because it needs a cooling fan. We've tested it, the resistor's alright, it's just the actual cooling fan itself that is knackered. So we do need a cooling fan for this car, but that will not be something we'll be doing. We just came here to do the ECU. So we've just packed away all the tools, vehicle's still running, we're going to go and switch that off so it doesn't overheat. But yeah, that's what we've ended up having to do on this. We ended up having to open up the ECU just because we couldn't extract the correct pin code, which is unfortunate, but it has to be done. But that gave us a wee look inside the actual ECU that we were fitting, and the old ECU, what that was like as well. It was fully corroded, whereas the new ECU was absolutely spotless, so that's a good thing. So before we end this video, I'm going to show you a quick clip of the EV and hybrid training that we attended at the beginning of the week, and I'll show you what the facilities are like. Facilities are really good. They've got some older cars, some newer cars as well, but overall the training was top notch. So what we're going to do is we're going to end the video there, guys. If you can, remember, like, share and subscribe, and we'll try and get those subscribers up as well, which is always a bonus. Some new tooling is coming our way as well, so we'll see that probably in the next upload. Any questions on the tools that we've been using throughout this video, we will leave in the description. If I've not left a link in the description, just comment on it and I'll let you know where it is. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.